neural adult stem cells, mainly the skin and neural tissues. Here we can see the NOT signaling, H-Hog signaling activation, which will help the lesions, fibroblast lesions. This is an example of a resting follicle. When it is getting activated through the H-Hog activation, then it forms the and helps in the hair growth, where there is the proliferation of the stem cells here. So these are the extrinsic niche signals which are helping in the self-renewal or differentiation of the stem cells, mainly the FGF2, the TGF-beta SMAD pathway, BMP SMAD pathway, WNT, GSK3 inhibitors, NOT and H-Hog. So the same signaling pathway can promote the self-renewal in one context and differentiation in another. So the outcome depends on the cell type, the receptor context, the dose and combination with other pathways. So it is not a single pathway which is acting on the stem cell. There are multiple pathways and outcome depends on different factors of the signaling. So the stem cell niche. So the niche is the local microenvironment that physically and biochemically instructs the stem cell behavior. So the microenvironment plays an important role in instructing the stem cells to either differentiate or self-renew. So the components of the niche are the neighboring or stromal or support cells, which direct the cell-cell contact, juxtakine signaling, and the secreted growth factors or morphogens. That is the gradient of WNT, BMP, Notch ligands presented locally. So that also plays an important role. The extracellular matrix, which is the composition, the ligand density and degradability, and the biophysical cues, that is the substrate stiffness, topography, mechanical strain, shear stress, all these things are also playing an important role. The oxygen tension. So this is an important factor where many stem cell niches are physiologically hypoxic. So in 1 to 7% oxygen concentration, so the stem cell niches are functioning, and hypoxia often favors self-renewal over differentiation via HIF signaling. So here the low oxygen level helps in the self-renewal, that is the oxygen tension. The vascular and immune cell interactions, so they increasingly recognized as niche modulators. The immune cell interaction is also an important, plays an important role in the niche as a niche modulator. And the systemic factors, aging, inflammation, metabolic status, they all can remodel the niche and shift the self-renewal differentiation balance systemically. So these also play an important role. So what will the tissue engineers do here? So the niche concept is the design blueprint for the tissue engineers. So the engineered scaffolds or bioreactors, they try to recreate defined elements of the niche, a WNT presenting surface, a stiffness gradient, a hypoxic core. These are all used to control the stem cell fate in vitro. So in vitro, when we are trying to manipulate the stem cells, all these factors play an important role in tissue engineering. So the modes of stem cell division, there are two modes which we have already discussed. One is the population asymmetry, which is a stochastic model, where the individual divisions can be symmetric, or stem or differentiated. Either it can become a stem cell and stem cell or a differentiated cell. But the population maintains balance because a stem cell lost to differentiation is statistically compensated by another divided symmetrically. So this model has strong evidence in tissues like epidermis and intestinal tract. The other one is an asymmetric division where unequal segregation of the fate determines mainly the proteins, the mRNAs or the organelles, so that one daughter stays as a stem cell and the other differentiates, which is a classic single cell model of homeostasis. So when we see here the symmetric and asymmetric division, symmetric division we can see all the organelles are equally separated into both the poles, and the identical cell weight happens. Either it can be stem cells or it can be differentiated cells. The asymmetric cell division, we can see the organelles are placed towards only one side, so that one becomes a stem cell, the other becomes a differentiated. So this is asymmetric cell division. So what are the tissue engineering levers used to control the balance? So we know the 2D versus 3D culture. So 3D culture is the hydrogels, scaffolds, spheroids or organoids, which better recapitulate the native cell-cell and cell ECM contacts than the 2D plastic, generally improving the maintenance of the stemness during expansion and producing more physiologically relevant differentiation outcomes. So we know this is a 2D culture where we grow the cells on a plastic plate. We can see only a 2D monolayer here, whereas the 3D cell culture is in a microplate. We can see the full the ECM as well as the cell incorporated, the cell-cell interaction as well as the cell ECM interaction, everything happens here. So the 2D versus 3D culture is playing an important role in tissue engineering. And the mechanical stimulation, example, the bioreactors. So the shear stress promotes endothelial or osteogenic differentiation. The cyclic strain promotes the clinogenic or myogenic differentiation. So the amount of stress we apply to a cell will change the fate of that differentiation. Here we see the shear stress, endothelial or osteogenic differentiation, whereas the cyclic strain promotes the myogenic differentiation. So this is a bioreactor that what we see here. So the donor, the biopsy is taken, cell is cultured, the scaffold is placed in the scaffold and placed in a bioreactor. Here, depending upon the force we are using, we can form different types of tissues. Next is the oxygen tension. As I already mentioned, the physiological oxygen for the culture is hypoxic, which is 2 to 5%, which often improves the self-renewal and expansion of the MSCs and other progenitor related to standard 21% atmospheric culture, which better mimics the in vivo niche. And the growth factor or morphogen delivery. So the BMP2 dexamethasone, already we have seen about the osteogenic induction medium, the hypogenic medium, what makes the difference. So we know that dexamethasone, beta-glycerophosphate, they are the osteogenic medium. So it helps in osteogenesis. Whereas TGF-beta3 for chondrogenesis. And azacitidine or 5-AZA plus growth factors are cardiomyogenic protocols. So depending upon the growth factor in the culture medium, we can change the fate of the stem cells. And the scaffold topography and the surface chemistry. The nano or microscale surface patterning, the fiber alignment and the ligand presentation density can locally mimic the niche juxtacrine signaling and direct the fate independent to soluble cues. So we see here, it depends upon all the factors here. The tissue engineering depends upon the stem cells, the chemistry, the signaling molecules, growth factors, as well as the scaffold characteristics. So the biomaterial or scaffold stiffness, which is the mechanotransduction, which we have seen already. The soft matrix will help in the neurogenic differentiation. Intermediate stiffness will help in myogenic, and the stiff matrix will help in osteogenic differentiation. So depending upon the stiffness of the scaffold, the different types of cells can be formed. As we can see here, the pore diameter determines whether it has to maintain the stemness or it has to undergo an osteogenic differentiation. So the pore diameter itself is an important factor in determining whether the cell renewal has to happen or a differentiation has to happen. So the scaffold structure can be of different patterns. There will be different shapes, microchannels, the porosity, the diameter, the surface topography. All these things will play an important role in the tissue engineering. So what is the balance, dysregulation and clinical relevance in this process? So too much self-renewal or insufficient differentiation will causes uncontrolled proliferation, teratoma formation and proposed link to cancer stem cells which co-opt the normal self-renewal transcription factors. So these cancer stem cells also use the normal self-renewal factors which are used for the normal maintaining the stemness of the other normal cells. So this plays an important role when there is too much of self-renewal. And when there is too much of differentiation and loss of self-renewal, there is exhaustion of the stem cell pool and there is impaired tissue regeneration and healing which happens during aging and where the niche signaling degrades over time. And there is an in vitro expansion problem where the MSCs and the adult stem cells frequently lose the self-renewal capacity and drift towards the senescence or spontaneous differentiation when cultured on standard tissue culture plastic, which is a major bottleneck for scaling up cell therapy. So tissue engineering manufacturing motivating much of the biomaterial niche engineering work. So most of the work, other advanced work or future direction should be in the 3D culture system. So the future perspectives includes single cell multiomics to map the cell-renewal states in real time, identifying the master regulators of stemness or heterogeneity, the CRISPR-based lineage tracing and epigenome editing to precisely control the differentiation trajectories, organoid and bioengineered niche models with tunable mechanical and biochemical properties, epigenome editing tools to test the causality directly, and reprogramming the strategies, which is partial iPSC factors to rejuvenate aged stem cells without neurogenic risk, targeted therapies selectively eliminating cancer stem cells while sparing the normal stem cells, and improved differentiation protocols, safer reprogramming methods, and off-the-shelf universal donor cell lines. These are all the future perspectives in the field of tissue engineering as of now. Thank you.